What's up, guys? Welcome to today's video, and we are going to be talking about The Boys, Season 3, Episode 7. I think we only have one episode left after this. And the title of this episode is Here Comes a Candle to Light You to Bed. I believe that's the title of the episode.
The title's weird.
Yeah, it's a weird title. So careful for spoilers if you're not caught up with The Boys. I'm pretty sure everybody's had a chance to watch it now. Is it coming out a day early every week now?
It seems like it's been dropping on Thursday nights.
Which is
I ended up catching it like I think I watched it 12:25 my time when it finally dropped.
Yeah, it's just weird because it says Friday. No, I watched it earlier, like in the evening, I think. So
oh really?
Yeah, maybe
they've been dropping it early.
Wait, is it different times for everybody? I hope not. So
I ain't knocking it though, because
So this show just continues to just push. All right, so I've got my notes in front of me. Luckily, it's not like 5 pages like last week's episode.
Yeah, there's a lot that happened in Herogasm.
Yeah,
not so much in this one, but still a lot happened.
So we kick off the episode with Ashley pulling damage control on Starlight's live stream and continuing the narrative about Vaught. She insists that Starlight is connected to the Shining Light Liberation Army, Kamiko, and trafficking. I expect this from her. I wasn't really surprised at all. I'm guessing this wasn't a shock for you guys either, because they did some social media stuff on Twitter where they put out a Vaught statement about it. Was any of this surprising to you? Because I kind of expected they were going to do this whole spin, right?
Yeah, I knew they were going to spin it. I just didn't know exactly how. But basically putting it on Starlight's little what do you call it? Charity as a human trafficking front. Yeah. I didn't think it would go that far. Like, good Lord.
Yeah. What about you, Lance? Any shock or surprise in that scene at all?
Didn't shock me at all, especially with how their social media platform has been posting all of the Homelander public addresses. This did not surprise me in the slightest. Right. This was another, little slight commentary to how they always say like some certain celebrities in America do like they're in on the human trafficking type thing. Mm-hmm. So it was hilarious.
Yeah. So another big reveal, or maybe not so shocking piece of info, is while the boys are hiding out at the Legends house, is that Soldier Boy didn't really do any of the things he was propagated to be a part of. All of these things were stories sensationalized by the American government and Vaught. And the boys does a really good job of starting like to hold up that mirror to people so they can see themselves. All this feels so real, even with the fictional world compared to our modern world and our current world. Were you actually shocked that Soldier Boy was pretty much a fraud, considering the spin that we get from Homelander in the 7? Because when this happened, I was like, so he was there, but he was like days after things happened, and he never actually fought in anything. And it just kind of like that. I will say that did shock me a little bit, because it looked like he was boots on the ground with the rest of the team. But then I thought about it. They kind of were held back. Like Payback was held back from doing anything. So
yeah, I'm not surprised, because you can spend all this money on Compound V and then all this money raising this superhero, and then you're going to put him in danger. No, you're just putting company assets in danger. Of course not. You put him there afterwards where it's safe and just, milk the propaganda off it.
Yeah. What about you, Lance? Any thoughts on this at all?
Did not surprise me at all. After seeing the episode where we got the flashback and seeing how all the Payback was just there, just messing around. This was not. I'm like, oh well, duh, Huey, you really thought he did something? Like,
yeah,
he probably killed people when he showed up, but.
Yeah. Well, actually, we're going to get to it, but there's a lot of stuff that he did in regards to Payback and Black Noir's storyline. We'll talk about that when we get there. But yeah, all of this just didn't, to me, none of it was very shocking. So the target of the week is Mindstorm. And we find out that not only does he have powers, but he's also got bipolar disorder. And Huey decides to track him using his medication to get a general location of him while he's off the grid. Soldier Boy warns them not to look into his eyes. And, I knew what that was immediately. I'm like, he's a telepath. Like, obviously, he's got some sort of mind control of the eyes. This reminds me of Brainwave from the ISA from DC. Did Mindstorm remind you of any character other than that? Were you getting any vibes from him, like in terms of who he was supposed to be?
Kind of like a psycho Professor X, maybe with a little bit of Jean Grey in there, a little bit.
Yeah, like Brainwave, same.
Yeah,
I got those vibes.
So then while they're out looking for this character, Soldier Boy is hearing voices randomly while they're out and about. And it was making me laugh. Yeah, it was making me laugh. And we also see earlier that Homelander is seeing Soldier Boy everywhere. This might have been a tease for the big reveal that we get at the end, like showing the similarities of these two characters. But I think it's never good when you have two of the most powerful soups having like emotional and mental issues.
Yeah.
So if you were out with Soldier Boy on a mission like this and he was talking to himself, what would your reaction be? Like if you were Huey or Butcher in this moment, what would you be thinking while you're with this volatile, unpredictable weapon of a person?
Well, by me being black, I'm keeping my distance regardless. We're not that trustworthy. People talking to themselves anyway. So even in that moment, I was like, who is he hearing?
This motherfucker gonna turn on us any minute.
Like they shouldn't be right there. I don't care how strong Butcher or Huey is right now. I'd run.
Did you think it was Mindstorm at first? Because I think a lot of people believed it might have been.
I thought it was Mindstorm. Isn't it just like him just smoking all of that weed?
Because we did find out that he had been like Butcher had been giving him like pounds and pounds and pounds of marijuana at this point. So he was just like dealing with PTSD and getting high and just it was a lot going on. So something was
just rewind to the fact that he has a old lady fetish.
I was wondering when we're going to get that.
We can talk about that now. So like we have the scene where it shows him in the Legends house where he is. I think they were just the housekeepers of the house. And so he's in there like doing this like scene with them with like they're on the bed with him and then Legend walks in. He's like, good. Now you realize I can never fire them at this point because of what you just done. But yeah, so he's got this. Do you think it's just because he is their age technically?
Yeah, they can relate
or whatever.
Fun fact: that's as far as Jensen Ackles was willing to go because apparently Eric Kripke wanted to, take it even further, but he was like, "Come on, man, I got kids, I got a family." I'm like, that's as far as you're willing to. I don't want to look at old.
Do you think are his kids going to be watching The Boys? I mean, that's the question.
Depends on how old they are. I mean, but still, even if they're like old, like adults, still, it's like you don't want to see your dad fool around with a bunch.
Right. I mean, I respect the boundaries, but that was still creepy as it is.
Yeah,
anyway.
It was hilarious too. This show just pushes those boundaries, and you just have to laugh.
Yeah. So while they're out and about looking for Mindstorm, he whammies Butcher after a tripwire distraction. Soldier Boy talking to himself, it's a tripwire. And this puts Butcher into a series of bad memories he cannot get out of. And we get to see really how messed up his entire childhood was.
Very messed up.
This is a pretty big part of the episode. We can't really go into all the details of what happens, but needless to say, like, you kind of see why Butcher is the way he is because of everything that he's had to deal with his father and his brother and just his life in general. Did this change your opinion of him? Do you feel any more sympathy for him as a character because of this? Or is it just more of like, okay, I get why he's the way he is?
Yeah, because you
take that away from it.
From season one, he always been this harsh, kind of just badass, unfeeling character. But especially how protective of he was with Huey, and now we kind of see why. He sees Huey as his little brother almost.
Right. What about you, Lance? Any thoughts on all these flashbacks?
It just helped me understand why he is the way he is, why he's this troubled, basically volatile person. Just just one bad day can just make you go insane. And he had a terrible upbringing.
Right.
So
it's interesting because the boys we're in season 3 and we didn't know this much about him. Like this was a lot of information in one episode that we got little breadcrumbs over like the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, especially the one where he talked to his dad. It's like, oh wow, his dad's a cunt. So
yeah,
there's probably something going on there. That's the way he is. Now we got even more detail as to what happened.
And so, a lot of the decisions that he's made has a lot to do with his upbringing, which is quite interesting as well. Okay, so Huey obviously wants to save Butcher. Soldier Boy says only Mindstorm can break the loop, and he isn't worried about that. Are you shocked that Soldier Boy was like, I'm just not
casualties?
I don't care about
whatever.
No, not.
He even goes as far to say that Butcher would make the same decision. Do you think Butcher would make the same decision
Probably.
as Soldier Boy?
Well, when it came to Huey, no. Given the detail we have now, no. But if it was Soldier Boy, all the better. One suit gone. Who cares?
Right. All right. So then they finally find Mindstorm, and Huey teleports him back to Butcher, quite a ways away from Soldier Boy, and he convinces Mindstorm to help him. This show doesn't typically use emotional pleas in a positive way, so I just didn't think he was going to do it. But then he agrees to do it because Huey's like, I'll teleport you anywhere you want to go. I didn't expect this. This was probably one of the things where I didn't expect him to help, because people aren't genuinely good people on the boys. So I'm like, he's not going to give it to us.
Mentally unstable.
Right.
Yeah, I was kind of like, whoa, he actually helped him out. Okay.
I knew, though, when he said yes, that the next thing that was going to happen was the brutal murder of Mindstorm from Soldier Boy, because the minute he agreed to do it, I was like, there's no way that this good deed is going to go unpunished.
That knife through like the side of his face.
What a brutal scene in general.
Do you think that shield would take out Cap's shield? Because Jesus, that thing is, oh my God.
It is. It's pretty bad.
It gave me John Walker vibes.
Oh, I also forgot, though. I didn't think about this. It wasn't in my notes, but they also had that scene where the priest and the nun were out on the street. And
I was thinking, it's like, what? Because I was with Huey on this, so I was like, yeah, whatever. Who cares? He doesn't have these people mind controlled until the nun just jumped on his neck and just started biting. I was like, oh, they are mind controlled.
That could have not been mind control.
She could have just went crazy.
You just killed my friend. You just killed my friend, like right in front of me. Like,
so you're assuming it could have been just like a psychosis break or something like that, where she just like freaked out or whatever.
I would have freaked out.
Yeah, it could have went either way. Sure.
Anyway, Butcher is saved, but then Mindstorm gets killed by Soldier Boy, and Soldier Boy gets some information from Mindstorm that we'll talk about in just a moment, but it sends him walking away, kind of just like, what? And then Butcher and Huey don't hear what happened there. All right, so let's talk about Homelander and Maeve. So we see that she is alive, but she's locked up, and she is happy to see Homelander afraid for once, which I thought was, she's like, this is in my top 3 days of my entire life or something like that, I think. But then he tells her that he doesn't want to kill her because he wants to harvest her eggs.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, you can kill yourself if you want. I don't care.
To make super babies from the 2 most powerful members of the 7. I don't.
That was creepy as hell.
He's weird, but I mean, honestly, him saying that did not shock me. I was like, that's one of the bottom things on my list of top 10 that you have said that have just been completely messed up.
But I mean, the good news is she's alive now. My question is, we have 1 episode left. Do you think she's going to survive to go into season 4? Do you think she's going to make it into season 4?
I think she'll survive. Yeah, and it's kind of telling how powerful she is. He has her locked up in basically a vault, so she's a little bit under him as far as strength goes.
Right. So I don't think she has heat vision, and I don't think she can fly. But I think in terms of everything else, she's pretty powerful. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So she can't bust out of there. But if it was any other place she was being held, she would have escaped by now. Yeah. But it's pretty telling. She doesn't want to be a soup anymore.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I mean, you got to think. I mean, like, would her life be as bad if she wasn't a soup? That's kind of the reality of it. Like, she'd probably have a normal life. So I don't know. She may end up wanting Soldier Boy to hit her with that blast, so she'll lose her powers, or at the very least enough to take them away, and she still live through them.
Is he the metahuman cure?
I don't know. Maybe. Okay, so let's talk about probably the most WTF moment for me in the entire episode, next to the ending, was A-Train is alive, and he's being kept alive by Vaught. But here's the catch. Blue Hawk's heart is in his chest. So he has his powers back, but it's because of this like racist superhero.
Now, where's a little bit of poetic justice in this?
So that's the thing. But then the icing on the cake is Ashley is like, oh, now you're going to go back to your old costume and you're going to be the stereotypical black superhero on a white team. And you're going to do all these things because we saved your life.
And speaking in pseudo AAVE.
Do you think that she's got some sort of way to hold him to this? Like, is there something else?
She knows exactly what happened.
Yep.
It's no way in the world they found his body laying there next to
this mutilated what was Blue Hawk.
They know. So it's just like, we have you. You're going to get in line.
Because we have this information. We know what you did.
We have this information. We know what you did. You're going to get in line. Or without saying it, you're going to die.
Right. I actually think I would not be surprised if there's some kind of failsafe in his heart, so that if he doesn't listen to them, they can just
blow it up.
Yeah, basically, like Suicide Squad type stuff. All right, so let's talk about the other like wild thing, and that is the trip to Buster Beaver's with Black Noir, who apparently has been using these cartoon characters from Buster Beaver to deal with the trauma of what happened to him.
It was hilarious. Yet when you read, you listen to what's going on, it's like, this is
seriously messed up.
Yeah, it is. So we get a lot of flashbacks to like how Soldier Boy treated pretty much the entire team, through the time Black Noir was there. And we get to see that he treated Black Noir like a black sheep, which is why he was portrayed as the black sheep in the cartoon, and told him he wasn't worth anything, and just the way he treated everybody on the team. And then we get to see what actually happened in Vietnam.
Because the person we talked to before is kind of like a unreliable narrator, because she only saw bits and pieces of what happened. This is like the complete picture of what happened.
What the F were we watching? Like, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, if you follow me on Twitter, I was even post-Twitter that tweeted, I was like, what episode is this? What is going on?
Omega, I messaged you on Twitter, and I told you, I said this episode is nuts.
I was like, what is this episode?
When that started happening, even my wife was sitting there like,
yeah.
She's like, what? That's what happened? I'm thinking, the whole time we're thinking it's that explosion. No, the man, how did he survive that? I'm like, Soldier Boy is like he just, at the snap of a finger, you just went off like that.
So this explains to me why Black Noir is on the run. Because he's afraid of Soldier Boy. Like, we thought it was Homelander. He's not afraid of Homelander. He's afraid of Soldier Boy. Like, how, like, he must have, like, the trauma in his mind from this is just too much. But
well, he did knock out the speech part of his brain.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like,
yeah.
So he basically learns from these visions that he needs to stand up to Soldier Boy. How do you think this plays out? Where do you think we go from here?
Soldier Boy's going to say something extremely racist to him, for one. And he's going to proceed to finish the job. Because, he's Soldier Boy's going to try to finish the job. I can just see that now. He's going to team up. Oh, this is going the complete opposite way of what we thought.
It is. Because now we're going to have Black Noir with Huey and Butcher going up against Homelander and Soldier Boy.
Two of the most powerful soups. That's just crazy. This finale this week is... I'm gonna need a drink.
Yeah, it's gonna be quite a thing. We also find out in the flashbacks that Edgar knew about Homelander when they made the deal with Soldier Boy, because he tells Black Noir that they have a kid that can fly and all this other stuff. And
can we just talk about how disrespectful he was to keep eating those almonds in front of him?
See, keep those away from
me. Can you not do that? I'm allergic to those. It just kept doing it. I was like, all right, okay. So then we get Kimiko, the stuff that gets a bit tricky. She wants her powers back and she asks Annie to do it. And a lot of people were confused because Annie agrees to do it, but then she felt bad when Huey wanted powers. And I know Eric Kripke made a comment on Twitter about this, about why it was different, but there was an obvious difference to me as a viewer between Kimiko wanting to have her powers back that she lost, and Huey wanting powers after going into a relationship with Annie and not acting as if he cared about being a super ever.
Yeah, it's like
a very different thing.
Yeah, Kimiko never wanted this to begin with, but she asked him back in order to protect other people.
Right.
Huey kind of just it was more like Kimiko did it for selfless reasons. Huey did it for selfish reasons. That's
Exactly.
Right. It was for the same scenario, but just the reasoning was different.
So I get it. It makes sense to me.
Yeah, and I can see why people were confused about the whole thing. Kind of got the two misconstrued.
So Annie agrees to do it, and while she's in Vaught, she finds notes on Temp V and what it can do to people who are using it. And let's just say they're not good. Basically,
Not good
like it'll cause your brain to turn into mush. Like that's what's happening. Their brain is leaking out of their ears, basically. And so that's really gross. So she ends up telling Butcher about it. She has a phone call with him. I know this isn't the correct order of events, but I want to
things are all over the place. Who cares?
But she tells Butcher about it, and Butcher acknowledges it, but then doesn't tell Huey. He lies to Huey about this. So, question: do you think this is going to affect Butcher and Huey at the end of the season? Do you think we're going to see them turn into like vegetables, or what do you think is going to happen if they keep?
Either that happens, or they take regular Compound V to counteract it. I don't know.
I wonder if adults can take Compound V after they've been on Temp V. I wonder if they can.
I have no idea. I'm just kind of throwing stuff out there.
You could inject yourself with more Compound V after losing your powers. Yeah. Because isn't that what A-Train was just kept injecting Compound V, didn't he? Like, isn't that the drug he was addicted to that messed up his heart in the first place?
Yeah, he was just taking too much of it.
So I wonder if there's just an amount. Maybe there's a limit on what you can take. All right, so what we have while Starlight or Annie is inside of Vaught is Homelander approaches her, right? And he's like doing his Homelander swag or whatever. And so he has a very candid conversation with her about everything. Like talking about what he did, what he's willing to do when it comes to Huey. They talk about Supersonic, all of these things. And at this moment, I wasn't thinking anything of it. I'm like, well, she's just basically like, I'm never going to do what you want me to do. And I thought, well, Homelander's about to go off on her, right? Because at this point, he's a little bit off his rocker. She was live streaming to her Instagram account the whole time. And then at the end, he's like, oh, we were just running lines. I'm going to say this right now. There is no way that he can spin this one because she was already being marketed as like this trafficker that's working with like evil people and doing all these evil things. And she's been calling out Vaught. There's no way under the sun that people would believe that he was running lines with her.
Yeah. And she live streams it can't like without his knowledge and being that she was accusing Vaught of all the stuff and he's confirming everything what she was saying. Nah.
Yep. And then you actively threaten somebody. It was just so fun. Starlight, you shouldn't do that while we're running lines. I said, that sounds fake, dude.
It does. Especially when you bring up someone like Huey, who isn't even ever been a part of the 7 films or anything like that. Like, that doesn't make any sense at all. So anyway, I thought that was brilliant. And that was a really good way to flip the script on Homelander and also to protect Starlight because he knew at that point he couldn't do anything because he was stuck in a position where he looks as bad as he actually is, which I thought was kind of interesting. We also had Mother's Milk who went off on Todd for taking his daughter to a Homelander rally. What do y'all think about that? I was like, he totally deserves that. Todd,
he deserves it. I mean, he shouldn't have hit him, but I mean, he's not wrong.
No, he should have hit him because first of all, you took his daughter. Secondly, you don't comment. You never comment on a man's parenting. You never do that, and that's
someone has to be your dad. Oh,
that's coming from a father of 4. You don't do that. Like you had for you to not see that coming. You had that coming.
Yeah.
And honestly, if Mother's Milk's ex-wife doesn't, see that he was justified in that, she's a horrible person as well. I don't like. Why were you okay with your husband taking her to a Homelander rally?
Right.
Yeah, so I was like, should he have done it? Probably not. Did he deserve it? Yes.
He should have did it and he deserved it.
Yeah. So we get the big reveal. We'll talk about that now, which is probably the big moment from the episode, obviously, is that Homelander is Soldier Boy's son.
What?
And genetically right now they're like the same age, which is some Flash shit, right? Like that's obviously not like the kids being the same age as the parents. Yep. But So we have the two most powerful soups that we know of next to
Also
maybe
psychotic.
yeah. That are now father and son.
Please don't let them find Ryan.
This sounds to me like, oh, you're right. That's a good point. This sounds to me like they're going to do a Vaught announcement that Soldier Boy is back and that he is Homelander's father. Like, I think that they're going to do that. Because that's a beautiful spin. Can you imagine that? Because the rest of the world still thinks Soldier Boy's a good person.
Yeah. Oh shit.
That's
what if
true.
they? Yeah, I was even saying like, what if they team up? I hope they don't, but they probably would.
It would boost Homelander's ratings.
Wow. Yeah,
If he pulls Soldier Boy in, it would boost his ratings. And Soldier Boy wants to be back in the good graces of Vaught. He wants that.
And he even said that, like, what father wouldn't want his son to take over here? Because he was even saying, like, yeah, they could have just asked me.
That's even more incentive for them to keep covering up the deaths that Soldier Boy has done because of all this. So now they have to vilify Black Noir because that's obviously not going to work with him being on the 7. So now Starlight, Black Noir out. We have Soldier Boy and Homelander at the top of the food chain. And I forgot to mention that Homelander also threatened Victoria in this episode as well.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
I was waiting for her to pop a hand or something. I was like, she's going to do something.
She's too scared to do that, though.
She could have. She could have.
And she had a lot but she knows how to talk herself out of situations like that. But was I the only one? When he grabbed her by the neck, I felt it because he did it so quick.
Yeah, I was like, oh shit.
So let's give our final predictions for this finale. I think we're going to see Soldier Boy and Homelander become the face of the 7, become the face of Vaught. He's going to try and redeem him. They're going to vilify Starlight. They're going to vilify Black Noir because obviously Black Noir can't be there with Soldier Boy. And our battle is going to be, I'm going to put this out there because Kamiko has her powers back now. I think it's going to be Kamiko, Black Noir, Butcher, and Huey, and Starlight versus Soldier Boy and Homelander and maybe the Deep, maybe A-Train.
Now, A-Train's not going to do it. Now, he'll probably be in there in the beginning and just be like, nah, screw this, I'm out. The Deep is too much of a punk to go against Vaught, so he'll just do whatever.
The Deep is going to be too busy with whatever that octopus's name is.
We didn't even talk about that scene. I completely forgot about that. The fact that he asked his wife to have a threesome relationship with an octopus.
Is this show?
The fact that he is he's too stupid to realize when somebody was insulting him on his lack of intelligence says a lot. I'm like, dude, you really don't think that somebody thinks your book is good. Like, they were insulting you.
Right.
And they knew you wouldn't understand it. Yeah. That's why your wife does all the talking for you.
Because she's smart and you're not.
You're an idiot. Like, it's no nice way around that.
I will say though that if we had like the remaining Vaught supers against the outliers, that would put us with, we'll just say A-Train for now because we don't know if he's gonna go with them or not. I'm guessing if he switches over, if he switches over and sacrifices himself to save people, which by the way, I don't know if he would do that, but if he switches over to sacrifice himself to save the other people, I will be very shocked. But he seems like he's very pissed at Vaught, so it's quite possible that might happen. But we'll take him out, and Deep is an idiot. That leaves us with Soldier Boy, Homelander, and Victoria versus everyone else. Do you think Maeve's going to get out? Because she would be very helpful for them to fight.
I don't know how she's going to get out. I think she is going to get out. Just how, I have no idea.
Well, I mean, they could get her out. Like Butcher could go and break her out. He could probably rip the door out from the other side. Most likely.
Probably. If they know where she is.
Right.
Well, Starlight might know.
I wonder if that's going to be a big part of the finale is finding Maeve. And Maeve may actually sacrifice herself to take out like at least Homelander or Soldier Boy. Any predictions for deaths? Okay, here's the death pool for the finale. Any predictions?
Kimiko and Frenchie, they're going to die horribly. I don't want them to, but they are.
Okay.
Wow.
and it's gonna break my heart.
Is that the only two you got money on?
Probably A-Train. I hope not.
Okay, I could see A-Train.
Butcher's gonna die.
Ooh, wow, oi.
And
wow,
I hope Homelander, but I don't know if he is.
Half the main cast right there.
Yeah, I know.
What about you, Lance? Any
I'm kind of just throwing stuff out there. I honestly have
that's
no
the
idea.
finale?
I will agree with it. Could be A-Train, but only because, like I said, I was doing my research, and what happened with Huey is lining up. It can line up because we know Huey has his super strength. In comic books, anything can happen. In the comics, Huey kicked A-Train's head clean off his shoulders. So A-Train shows up, triggers Huey again. Huey's still not over the whole Robin thing.
Yeah.
He could kill A-Train just to get that out the way. I do think that Soldier Boy might die.
Okay.
Only because Jensen is, him and Eric Kripke, they're like this. They've been like this since 2005 with Supernatural. But he's also a series regular on that other show, Big Sky.
Right.
So he wouldn't have time to be filming The Boys and that at the same time because, well, they're starting The Boys in August. I'm pretty sure they're going to start Big Sky around the same time.
Because of the release date, yeah.
Yeah. So Soldier Boy, A-Train, Kamiko or Frenchie.
Okay.
Yeah, one of them two.
Okay, I'm gonna say
I'm gonna hate it.
I think Kamiko's storyline is done.
Yeah,
I think it's done. It would make sense for her to go. Frenchie, we could still do stuff with, but I think Kamiko's arc of like being evil, having powers, not wanting powers, losing powers, and then getting her powers back. I think that completes her story for me. I think we could tell more. Obviously, these shows can tell more, but I feel like it's a good bookend. I think a character y'all didn't mention that I think is expendable is Mother's Milk. I think he's expendable because his story is Soldier Boy. He's going to be in this battle. He's going to be in this final battle, and he's probably going to die fighting Soldier Boy.
True, and when they focus on one character for a while,
his story has been completely independent from everybody else. So we know that it's been building up for him. He's got to face off against Soldier Boy.
Yeah,
he has to. They've been building up to it. There's no way with him not taking Temp V that he can beat Soldier Boy. He'll probably die facing off against Soldier Boy unless Butcher saves him, which we've already had happen once. I don't know if it's going to happen again. So it is kind of weird. If I were saying one of the big characters, like one of the main characters, I don't think Starlight's going anywhere.
Yeah,
I don't think Huey's going anywhere. So that's a trifecta of either Soldier Boy, Homelander, or Butcher. If I were picking out of those three, I think Lance is right. I think Soldier Boy is the most likely because of the fact that he's got other things going on. Homelander, unfortunately, is the face of the show. So I don't know if he would go anywhere. And on the flip side, Butcher is the other face of the show. So I don't know if he would go anywhere either. If they want to pull a Game of Thrones, though, they would kill one of those two.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if they're going to do that or not. So, but I'm going to say
Can we get rid of Ashley? I'm just saying, lovely.
Also, no one said this, but Maeve is a possibility too. I think Maeve is a possibility.
Victoria Newman?
See, I don't think so because I think she has more. I think she's going to be the evil face of Vaught in next season, I believe. But I think Maeve doesn't want to be a super. She doesn't want to be a part of the Seven. She hates Homelander, and she does not want him to harvest eggs from her. I think she would be willing to sacrifice herself just because she's over it. She's done with it.
Yeah, sounds about right.
So, I don't know. What would you score this episode before we wrap this up? What would you score this week's episode?
9.5 out of 10. Had no problems with it. But I'm not going to give it a perfect score because I don't want people to think I'm a boy's shill or something.
All right. What about you, Omega?
Yeah, I was going to say a solid 9. It wasn't craziness that was Herogasm, but it was pretty dang close. So yeah, this was about a 9.5 for me too.
So I'm going to sit on a 9 with this one. And the reason why is because I think the finale is going to be amazing. And if I gave this a 10 and then gave the finale a 10, it would be like, well, how was it evenly good. So I'm going to go with the 9 and say I'm anticipating a 10 out of 10 finale for The Boys, and I'm really excited. It was so much fun reviewing this, so we'll have to do this again next season as well, because I think that the show, each week, it's like we have more and more and more. They packed so much into one episode. So that's pretty much it. So we're out of here. All right, before we go, do a couple shout outs. Lance is now doing reviews on his channel. He's doing reviews. He's doing music stuff. He's really trying to take off. So Lance, give him a little preview of what's on your channel. Tell him what's going on, and then we're going to link your channel in the info box.
I'm going to be reviewing DC TV, Marvel TV, doing like top 10 lists, as well as, posting my own drum stuff because, well, that is my normal day-to-day job, musician by profession. So stop by the channel. Thank you to everybody that has supported so far and shown love and got these views and subscribers up. But let's keep going. Let's have some fun.
And Omega, as always, I guess your DeviantArt is what you're
still got my page. Still, actually, I've been pretty busy on that. Last week, I think I posted like 5 pictures throughout last week or whichever. I can't remember exactly, but yeah, I've been still pretty busy doing that.
Okay, so people go check out his DeviantArt, or you can follow them both on Twitter and listen to them talk about everything under the sun. So you guys know where to find me. I'm everywhere. So it is what it is. But thank you so much for joining us in this review, and we will see everyone in the next one. Take care. Bye.